Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
More cruise ships are failing health inspections. MarketWatch reports that in 2017, more American cruise ships got failing grades for health and safety than in the last 10 years. Ships are inspected by the Center for Disease Control's Vessel Sanitation Program. Cruise ships have to get an 86 or better to be considered satisfactory. A 100 is a perfect score. 5 of the ships that failed last year were run by Carnival. One had flies in an area for food prep and dairy being stored at too warm temperatures. On another, crew members were accused of making an organized effort to hide unsafe food and dirty dishes from inspectors. Several of the ships have been re-inspected and passed. A spokeswoman said, "We have taken immediate corrective action." Over 27 million people are expected to travel on cruise ships this year, up more than 50% from a decade ago. If you happen to be one of them, you can look up ship inspection results on the CDC's website.
Last week, mortgage interest rates reached a 4-year high, with the average 30-year fixed rate climbing to 4.28%. Since the beginning of 2018, rates have been steadily increasing due to rosy economic forecasts, but higher mortgage rates make buying a home more expensive, especially for first-time buyers. Experts say this could be a bad omen for the usually busy spring real estate market, especially since there is already a huge housing supply crisis in the United States. There's a low inventory of houses on the market, but an extremely high demand. This has driven home prices to record highs, but higher prices combined with higher mortgage payments will make home ownership too expensive for more and more potential buyers. So as long as home prices and mortgage rates keep increasing, many people will need to stick to renting.
The Cleveland Indians announced a major change to their uniform. They're getting rid of the controversial Chief Wahoo logo. The change will start for the 2019 season. The decision was made after discussions between the commissioner's office and team leaders. The Native American character has been used by the team since 1947 in one form or another. Souvenirs featuring the logo will still be sold at the stadium and at certain retailers beyond the 2019 season. If the Indians stop doing so, the team could risk losing trademark rights, meaning someone else could end up making money off the logo. Native American leaders say this is a step in the right direction, but many still question the team's Indians nickname. They hope that will be the next thing about the team that changes. Puerto Rico remains in a state of devastation. 40% of the population still doesn't have electricity. Houses are uninhabitable, violence is rampant, and thousands of police officers aren't even showing up to work. An overflow of debt, financial issues, and corruption are making it hard for the island to rebuild. And Paul Simon will appear on stage this summer for the last time ever at a festival in Hyde Park.
If you leave my bodyguard, I could be your long lost pal.
The 76-year-old's concert is being billed as Homeward Bound, the farewell performance. Now, check out this performance from high school freshman Blake Peters. That was an 80-foot buzzer beater that gave his team the win, 45-44.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Pedlides. Nicole, I am hearing big things about Apple.
That's right, Richard. Apple is reportedly working on 3 new Mac models, which include 2 laptops and a new desktop. A new iPad is also said to be in the works and rumored to be released at the end of the year. Venmo is one of the more popular mobile payment apps, but have you heard about Zelle? It's a service backed by more than 30 U.S. banks such as Chase and Capital One. The company claims it moved $75 billion last year and 100,000 people are enrolling daily. Remember that free Messenger Kids app Facebook launched in December? Turns out child experts are urging the social media giant to pull the plug on it, claiming that excessive use of digital devices and social media could undermine children's healthy development.
And Nicole, what has Facebook's response been to this?
Well, it has said it won't show ads or collect data for marketing to kids. It's still too early to tell what the effects will be. But here's a number for you. Since its launch, the Messenger Kids has been downloaded about 80,000 times on iOS.
Nicole, in New York, thank you. A very rare super blue blood moon is to light up the sky this week. 3 different lunar events will happen at one time. Here's what they are. A supermoon is when a full moon occurs during its closest point of orbit with Earth, meaning it appears brighter. NASA predicts this will be 14% brighter than normal. A blue moon means it's the second full moon in a calendar month, and a blood moon occurs during a lunar eclipse when faint sunbeams peek out around the edges of the moon, giving it a reddish color. You'll want to look to the sky in the early Wednesday hours, but the exact time and just how good of a view you'll get depends on where you live. NASA has more information about the best time to view the super blue blood moon in your area, and you can see that info on our Top 30 Facebook page. Kristen, you have some news about a potential change to employee healthcare.
That's right, Richard. 3 major U.S. companies are teaming up to start a nonprofit health insurance company. Amazon, led by Jeff Bezos, Berkshire Hathaway, led by Warren Buffett, and J.P. Morgan Chase, led by Jamie Dimon, say the new company will provide health care to their U.S. employees. Each partner named one executive to work on the new effort, but did not offer many specifics beyond that, saying a location of the headquarter building, executive team, and operational details will be made public at a later date. Leaders acknowledged the challenge of getting into the healthcare business, but said they'll use the extraordinary resources of their respective company to find a solution. The goal is to eventually offer insurance to employees of other companies as well. The news had an immediate impact on established healthcare providers. Stocks of several major companies fell shortly after the partnership was announced.
Humanoid robots are getting better at walking, talking, and looking like humans. Now the question is, just how useful could they become? Jason Bellini has more in this week's Wall Street Journal Moving Upstream report.
I have some troubling news for both of us. The humanoid robot we met in Japan, named Erica, is slated to soon become a news anchor on Japanese television.
We're going to replace one of the newscaster with Android.
Wait, so you're gonna have an Android newscaster?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yes, the same as the Erica.
My name is Erica. I'm enjoying this experience of talking with you today.
But is she smart enough to be a newscaster? You have to be very smart to be a newscaster.
She's gonna have a kind of AI.
We also met roboticist David Hansen. He's the creator of Sophia, which means wisdom in Greek.
I guess that's what it's like to be a child.
He claims Sophia is on course to develop human-like intelligence. But some AI experts are criticizing Hansen, saying robot consciousness may not even be possible, and if it is, it's many, many years away.
Thank you, Jason, and you can see the complete episode at wsj.com/upstream.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children estimates that 20% of runaways reported are actually victims of human trafficking. But because law enforcement isn't obligated to track down runaways, many victims are never found. Because of this, Joseph Travers, a world-renowned investigator, co-founded Saved in America, or SIA, which tracks down missing teens who are forced into sex slavery. SIA is a last resort for people who have run out of options, people like Maureen and David from California. When their 16-year-old daughter went missing while on a bike ride, they knew something wasn't right. Finally, they turned to Travers, who found their daughter less than a week after taking the case. She was a victim of human trafficking. Travers says all this is possible thanks to funding from private supporters, which is how he recruits, trains, and licenses his all-volunteer team. Thanks to SIA, a parent's worst nightmare resulted in a happy ending. If you've ever wondered what your pet was thinking, soon you might actually know. Recent advances in technology allow for the translation of language in real time, but the next advancement will be translating your pooch's thoughts into English. Thanks to the research of Dr. Kon Slobodchikov, an algorithm has been developed that turns the vocalizations of prairie dogs into English. Slobodchikov says, "I thought if we can do this with prairie dogs, we can certainly do it with dogs and cats." And last year, Slobodchikov even founded a company called Zoolingua with the goal of developing a device to point at animals to interpret their body language and sounds. This technology could be used to help animals find their way home, understand what's wrong with them when they're ill, and just to get closer to your BFF.
America's infrastructure is crumbling. More than 54,000 of the country's bridges were graded structurally deficient, according to a new report by the American Road and Transportation Builders Association. Those bridges are crossed by cars, trucks, and other vehicles 174 million times every day. The average age of the structures is 67 years. Iowa has the most bridges that need repair at over 5,000. It's followed by Pennsylvania at over 4,100 and Oklahoma with more than 3,200. The study's authors were clear about who they blame for the state of the country's bridges. It really comes down to a failure of leadership in Congress to address some of these issues and provide additional funding. President Trump has repeatedly promised a plan to fix America's infrastructure. Details of the $200 billion plan are expected to be unveiled next month. But at the current rate of repair, fixing those bridges would take 37 years. Experts say that modernizing the country's roads would benefit the economy for decades.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 4 Dallas, those who serve in the military are full of skills, but they often need help figuring out what to do when their service time is over. That's when the organization Honor, Courage, Commitment steps in, helping veterans interested in entrepreneurship and careers in the civilian sector achieve their goals. HCC serves as a business incubator, providing the education and mentorship needed for success. And it's working. Since its inception 5 years ago, HCC has helped launch 30 businesses and 6 nonprofits founded by veteran entrepreneurs. Our next story from Fox 9 Minneapolis. The Super Bowl experience is at the Minneapolis Convention Center, but the center's smaller size has allowed events to spread to other parts of the city. This means fans not able to attend the experience can still witness some pretty cool things, like the Mall of America, who will be hosting Radio Row. Visitors will have the perfect view to over 150 media outlets and their guests, both athletes and celebrities. The best part? The events at the Mall of America are free of charge. Our final story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay. Cindy Hughes noticed a need for blankets and beds to keep animals warm after a recent trip to the animal shelter. So she went to social media looking for people willing to sew. She called the group Beds for All Paws.
If you give people a chance to be good, they will.
Well, the growing group has been together less than a week and has already delivered more than 60 blankets and beds to their local humane society.
Researchers took a submarine to one of the most remote places in the world and returned with remarkable pictures of sea life. Greenpeace sent the subs down to the floor of the Antarctic Ocean as part of an expedition to conduct research in that area. These pictures show some of the creatures they found, including this sea urchin, this coral, and a creature called the Antarctic feather star. Greenpeace wants to use the information gathered on these dives to create a 700,000 square mile safe haven in this area to protect wildlife. The commission that has the power to grant that protection will consider the proposal when it convenes in October. Greenpeace plans more dives over the next 3 months to conduct more research and strengthen the case for their safe haven proposal.
According to multiple studies, fitness trackers promote behavioral changes that get people moving and help them achieve their fitness goals, which is why we've got today's top 30 deal. Bluetooth fitness tracker and heart rate monitor at a special 79% discount. The Bluetooth fitness tracker straps to your wrist like a watch and tracks your steps, calories burned, and distance. With the Bluetooth fitness tracker's continuous GPS smartwatch technology and activity data display window, you'll have a constant reminder to stay motivated. And not only that, it has a remote camera and music player function that's compatible with iPhones and Android devices. The Bluetooth fitness tracker and heart rate monitor retails for as much as $129.99, but today you can buy it for just $27.99. That's about a 79% discount, and you can get this right now at luluway.com while they last. Esmond Alcock just turned 108 years old, making him the oldest man in Canada. A retired farmer from Saskatoon, Alcock's wife Helen passed away 7 years ago after 72 years of marriage. He credits his wife for his longevity, saying, "I didn't behave myself for a few years there, but then I got a really good wife." His care center threw him a birthday party last week that included a cake and his favorite meal of steak, carrots, and fruit. The town's mayor attended the party and officially declared January 26th as Esmond Alcock Day. Alcock laughed about the party, saying, "Oh, they nearly drove me nuts. They probably took 100 pictures of me." Alcock still FaceTimes his 76-year-old son every day and has 38 great-grandchildren.
A new report presented at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, found some fairly shocking statistics about the impact of automation on the future job market. It found 1.4 million Americans will lose their jobs to technological change in the next 8 years alone, with many people seeing their current professions disappear entirely. Researchers are calling for a reskilling revolution where skills like digital literacy become the new norm among workers. They encourage businesses and employees to engage in lifelong learning and retraining, which will allow workers to adapt to a rapidly changing labour market and hopefully find fulfilling careers in the future. Automation will be a massive change to our day-to-day life, the job market, and the economy, and it is one of us, most of us are completely underestimating.
Coca-Cola has long been a staple in many Americans' refrigerators, but surprisingly, the famous soda can be used for so much more than just quenching your thirst. It can even clean your toilet. Simply pour a can of soda into the toilet bowl and scrub along the edges with a toilet brush. Let it sit overnight and flush it down in the morning. The acidity in the Coke helps leave your toilet spotless. This same acidity can be used to defrost your windshields. When the ice scraper isn't quite cutting it, pour a can of Coke on top of your car windshield and let the soda's acids break down the ice. Your windshield will be clear in no time. You can even make your own Coke body lotion. Add a spoonful of Coke to your regular lotion to leave your skin looking silky smooth. Who knew a can of Coke could do so much? The government launched a program in Denver that paid homeless people to work, and it's proven to be a valuable program for everyone involved. It's called Denver Day Works, and they pay residents $12.50 an hour to do public service work for the city, like mulching flower beds in parks or clerical work at the local library. There are no background checks, and participants work a 3 to 6 hour day. And after their shift, the program's administrator even offers free financial planning advice. One program participant said, "If you are able and willing to better yourself and get up and do something rather than just sitting and being stuck, Denver Day Works is there." Now, here's the best part. Since the program's launch at the end of 2016, they've had 284 participants, and more than 100 of them landed long-term jobs as a result. A perfect example of the phrase, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. 2017 was a big year for concert touring, with Coldplay and Guns N' Roses joining the list of Billboard's all-time highest-grossing concert tours. The list, which generally doesn't change from year to year, added iconic hair metal band Guns N' Roses into 4th place and British rock band Coldplay into 3rd. Coldplay moved up on the list thanks to a net gross of $523 million from its A Head Full of Dreams tour, named after its 7th studio album. Guns N' Roses comes in right behind on the all-time list with a net gross of $475 million for 123 headlining performances during its ongoing Not in This Lifetime tour. First and second place goes to U2 for the 360 Degrees tour and the Rolling Stones for their A Bigger Bang tour, respectively, with Roger Waters' The Wall Live tour rounding out the list in 5th place.
A government agency will soon be able to track you using your license plates. The Verge reports that Immigration and Customs Enforcement has signed a contract with a company that has a database of license plates. That company, Vigilant Solutions, gets up to 100 million license plate sightings every month. Each includes a date, time, and GPS coordinates. The agents will be able to pull up every place a license plate turned up in the last 5 years. They can also get alerts every time there's a new sighting of that plate. Civil liberties groups worry the plan will be used to increase the already growing number of deportations under the Trump administration. They're also concerned about privacy. ICE denies they will be contributing new photos or building their own database.
It's probably a good idea to teach your kids about responsibility by having them do chores, but it's important they're age appropriate. Helping their parents around the house has been shown to make children happier and more successful, and it's never too early to get them started. Here are a few examples of ways your 2 to 3 year old can help around the house. As kids get older, they're able to do more on their own. Here are some examples of what kids from 4 to 5 years old versus kids 6 and 7 are capable of. 8 and 9-year-olds can take out the trash and help put the groceries away, and by the time kids are 10 and 11 years old, they can mop the floors and clean the toilets. Of course, an allowance in exchange for the chores is up to the parents, but it never hurts to help motivate. Hey Richard, what's coming up on our next show?
Kristen, we're talking about taxes. There are reasons why Americans should file as soon as possible and why a big refund check might not be a good thing. For decades, brides have struggled with a practical problem in their wedding dresses. Top 30 talks to an inventor who says she has a solution, and a piece of Hollywood history is for sale for just under $70 million. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.